The GR Corolla carries a lot of weight on its wide shoulders. It's the only original sports car that the brand has in the US. Can I help you?
Hey man, there's a group of goth girls around the corner. They look single and I think you should go check them out.
You know, I really don't appreciate you interrupting my video,
Yeah.
but
Keep going.
wait for me.
Keep going. Yeah. Keep going. Keep running. Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2023 Toyota Corolla GR. Up front is a 1.6 liter 3-cylinder turbocharged engine, and down below is a 6-speed manual transmission. Now I am super excited to be stealing this car from my friend Tyler today because the GR Corolla is the hot car of 2023. I can't think of a more highly anticipated car to drive this year than the GR Corolla. It debuted this year and is Toyota's effort to battle the Honda Civic Type R, of which I have driven the 2023 Type R, so I might sprinkle a couple comparisons in here and there. But if you would like me to review your vehicle, you could submit it to my website, zachpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form, takes less than a minute to fill out, and you would get a video of your personal vehicle, just like the one you're watching now of Tyler's GR Corolla. But let's get back to that 1.6 liter turbo 3-cylinder engine. Well, it's actually missing a cylinder from the rest of the Toyota Corolla lineup. Most of the other Corollas have 2-liter inline 4s. Well, this gains a turbocharger while losing a cylinder. However, what it doesn't lose out on is the power. It makes 300 horsepower out of a 3-cylinder engine. That's 100 horsepower per cylinder, which is crazy statistically. The engine is what makes the GR Corolla so special and so unique. Paired with the all-wheel drive system, which we'll talk about in a second, this is quite the special little rocket ship. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed manual transmission. It is lovely, not only lovely to shift, but it's lovely to see that it is only available with the 6-speed manual. They've taken a page out of Honda's SI and Type R book and made it strictly for enthusiasts. No one just wanders into a GR Corolla on accident. Well, given the intro of this video, I guess some people might. But this is an enthusiast car and the transmission is very enthusiast driven, very notchy, very clicky, and very satisfying when going into gear. Last but not least, the GR Corolla is all-wheel drive, which is so cool, really, really performance oriented, and you can actually adjust the all-wheel drive system, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, which I love. So how does it feel to actually drive the GR Corolla? Well, around town, it drives like the regular Corolla. Still has decent visibility out the front. Don't love the visibility out the back, but that's pretty run-of-the-mill for most vehicles in this class, in this segment. Mazda 3 is even worse. The Honda Civic ain't great, but what this does get is a sport mode, which really tightens up the steering. It does have a decently stiff ride, but that 3-cylinder turbo does work. I hope you enjoy. Let's talk about the interior. Well, first and foremost, right in front of me, I get a completely digital cluster, but it's different than the standard Corolla's digital cluster. It has a couple different modes that you can cycle through, and I really, really love the look of this, and I love the customization that the GR Corolla provides you with. You have some track modes, some regular cruising modes, and overall, it's just a really, really nice display that I'm a big fan of. On the steering wheel, on the left, we have our volume selectors for that gauge cluster screen, as well as phone options. And off to the right, I do have my adaptive cruise control options, skip track, and mode. The overall steering wheel looks and feels great. It has a nice little GR badge down at the bottom that I pleasantly enjoy. Off to the left, I do get a little climate control vent. And then we have a whole row of buttons. So going left to right, I have my gauge dimmer switch, my automatic high beams, trip odometer, heated steering wheel, heated windshield wipers, and my IMT button, which is the auto rev matching, which is a fantastic feature. Makes me feel really, really cool. Moving on to the door, we just have our power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. And moving into the center, we get our infotainment. This is Toyota's more modern infotainment, and I don't mind it, but the owner, Tyler, has said that it has been somewhat glitchy in his 3,800 miles of ownership. It asks you to set up a driver profile, and yet more often than not, it fails to actually automatically load that driver profile, making you lose all of your settings, like which gauge cluster you like, priorities, and things like that. So it's really, really annoying. Other than that, it does have wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. I really like Toyota's new system. I think it just has one of those first year glitches for the GR Corolla. Here's what the backup camera looks like. Toyota does not do a good job with backup cameras. I think they appear relatively low resolution, but hey, what can you do? Down below that, we get our climate control vents, hazard switch, and our climate controls themselves. Plain and simple, although it doesn't get dual zone climate, which I would have liked to have seen, especially because the Type R does get dual zone climate. Then we move down below all of that and we have a wireless charger and our heated seat buttons. Both Tyler and myself have failed to see this wireless charger actually work with our phones, and that seems to be across most of Toyota's lineup. I guess it's nice that they include it, but would have been nicer if it worked. And then we have some drive modes. So we have Eco, Normal, Sport, and Custom, which, as you can imagine, you probably know which mode this vehicle stays in. Then we have the shifter itself. I like the sort of brushed aluminum top to the shift knob that you get. And like I said, it feels very, very satisfactory, and I love that about the GR Corolla. And I love that about Toyota products. They're usually pretty good about their shifters. Then we do have a really interesting knob down below, one of my favorite knobs, and that is the four-wheel drive settings. So you can actually switch it to be 60-40 split, 30-70 split, or put it into track mode. I love that they give you this ability. It really reminds me of the older Subaru WRX STIs, which I think is a kind of fun little tip of the cap to older rally cars, which this vehicle was inspired by. Then we do have cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test on the GR Corolla, and unfortunately it fails. I didn't really expect it to pass, but they did change the cup holders for the GR, but doesn't mean they made them any better. Then we do have this little center console with a USB, which is fine, but there is no armrest. So I would imagine on longer road trips, when you're not shifting gears, just sitting in sixth, it might be a little bit of a headache, or really an arm ache, given the fact that there's no center console. However, the seats are decently comfortable. They are cloth, and they actually feel pretty basic. They're nowhere near as aggressive as the Civic Type R seat. So if you're a bigger guy like me, that's gonna be helpful, but if you're a smaller person that wants to be held in a lot better, the Type R is going to be the way to go in terms of seating. However, speaking of seating, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the GR Corolla from 2023. I've complained about Corolla back seats before. Gonna do it again in this video. They suck. My knees are smushed. My head is hitting the ceiling. I'm 5'11". I know I'm not a small guy, but the Honda does it so much better. I mean, like worlds better. I don't know how the Honda engineers were able to configure that, but they did it, and Toyota engineers most certainly did not. It's rather cramped. Speaking of crampedness, let's hop out and take a look at the trunk. All right, around the back of the GR Corolla. And here's how I get those cool outside shots. It's just a suction cup with a 360 camera. I left it back here because you can't really fit anything else. That's a tripod and that's a camera. This floor doesn't go any lower because you have, I guess, some cubby space down there, but you don't even get a spare tire. So the trunk has like no lip to it. Anything back here, if you're parked on a slant, is gonna slide out. This has always been a big issue with me with the Corolla, and that carries on to the GR Corolla. Even though it gets cool, bigger fender flares, that size doesn't translate to anything in the trunk, unfortunately. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I love the extra boxiness that the GR Corolla gets. I love the flared fenders, I love the aggressive look. Overall, best looking Corolla ever made, at least in the modern era, for sure. This also does get GR Corolla specific wheels to fit the bigger brakes, GR badging all around, some spoilers, things like that. But overall, I'm really happy with the complete package that is the GR Corolla. But now, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the GR Corolla? My first time driving the new GR. Something that us Americans have been begging for years and years and years, and Toyota finally delivered. Well, it's been interesting. It's blown me away in several factors, but also been rather unamusing in others. You see, Toyota to me has always been very business-y. They do things by the book, they make cars by the book, they sell vehicles by the book, and that's just the way it's going to be. So now they decide to let their hair down and make a hot hatch for the American market, something that will wow and excite you. And to be honest, it most certainly does. This is a fantastic driving car. In the corners, heck, even on the straightaways, it's a little rocket. But it needs that time to run, and really the space to run. My biggest downside with the GR Corolla, besides the trunk space and back seat space, but I complained about that enough in my regular 2023 Corolla review, I don't need to go there for this. Besides those little issues, my biggest complaint is that it's not any more fun to drive at the speed limit than any other Corolla. Because to really push this car, you gotta really rev out that little 3-cylinder. Now, when you do rev out that 3-cylinder, I think it's a little bit more hectic and a little bit more, let's say, interesting than the Type R Civic, because it's down a cylinder. It's down 0.4 liters of displacement. It has a point to prove. It almost feels like the car is going, go time? No, not go time. Go time? No, not go time. Oh, go time, go time, go time, spaceship, spaceship, and then it goes. So you really have to fight this car in order to get it to go. Driving it around town is lame. But then again, if we're being fully honest and fully transparent, that's how the older Corollas were. I drove a Corolla FX16 from 1987. That car was the same way. You had to beat the snot out of it in order to have a good time. But you were having a good time beating the snot out of it. That's how I feel about this Corolla. So maybe that downside is a secret good side. Maybe what I thought was a negative is actually a big, big positive. I don't know. But what I can tell you is that when you give it the green light and say, all right, let's run, this thing runs. Is it worth the hype? Yes. You just got to figure out how to tame the hype. And once you do, this car will treat you very, very well. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Tyler for letting me review his GR Corolla as well as that fun intro. Tyler is also an automotive reviewer here on YouTube. He runs the Realistic YouTube channel. He's a great friend of mine. We're actually going to be roommates here in a little bit for a couple media events. He has very, very good, very thorough reviews. So if you're interested in newer vehicles, very in-depth newer vehicles with a ton of research, Tyler is the best YouTube channel for that, for my money. He's a great friend of mine. And hey, he must be pretty cool to drive a GR Corolla. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.